As with any construction, regardless size, shape or design, the base is where everything starts, and this is what we're going to look at today. The sub-base, what is it? Traditionally, foundations and bases have been just full of concrete, huge trenches full of concrete, and not good for the environment, high in carbon count. It's not great. So these are the different types of foundation to which we're used to at the moment. So each contact point between concrete and brick, and every time a piece of concrete touches the ground, it's a potential cold bridge or a thermal bridge. This is a way of the heat and energy being lost through the house. As well as that, it's very high in carbon count, masses of concrete in the ground, big disturbance to the environment. So therefore, passive house, we've got a slightly different approach when it comes to our foundations or our base. Passive house base. Unlike traditional foundations, the passive house base will be an insulated base. This will reduce the amount of concrete used and create a thermal break, which means instead of the concrete becoming a thermal bridge, it becomes thermal mass. This means that the concrete will actually absorb and store heat. So instead of losing it through into the soil, into the ground, you're actually going to store it. And then when the environment in the house, the temperature drops, it will release that and help to contain and maintain that environment as a consistent rate. So there's nothing negative about using an insulated base. It can also be used for timber, brick, or any other build system that we know of at the moment. So it consists of a insulation with a DPC, damp proof, or DPM, damp proof membrane, and it floats on an insulation. So when it comes to damp proofing and membranes, what we have here is we have a DPM damp proof membrane. We do that on any build. Regardless of what it is, we have to prevent damp. But in the circumstances of a passive house, and all houses I think in the future should be, the membrane will also be a radon barrier. Radon barrier. What is radon? What is radon gas? Radon gas is a naturally occurring radioactive gas that's in the grounds. It's actually hazardous to health. It's really harmful if it's trapped and contained within the build. So we want to prevent this. Now, using a really good quality membrane and using it correctly is very important. So when it comes to your sub base, you've got your insulation and you put your DPM in, which is also your radon barrier. We make sure that you've got good overlaps. It's taped with a double-sided Buton tape to make sure it's sealed. Our penetrations, regardless size, shape or area, we make sure that they're sealed with top hat system or whatever you're using for that particular product. But DPM, gas membrane, these are things to look at. Same product, just make sure the product you're using does cover both, and make sure that it's absolutely installed correctly to the manufacturer's guidelines. So, damp-proof membrane, radon. So, things to remember. A sub-base or a base itself is a simple thing. It's an insulation with a concrete topping where bricks and or timber framing can be taken to. Things to remember is the base is the most important part. Always spend time on the base. Traditionally, people say, oh, don't worry about the base. Our tolerances are X amount. No, it isn't. Don't have the tolerances you do for your normal foundations. It has to be right. It has to be level. It has to be square. It's most important, because if you don't, the rest of the build is going to follow what you do on the ground. Attention to detail, anything with passive house. is attention to detail and precision. That's the secret to a much easier and consistent and good standard of build. Double check your DPMs, your gas membranes. Always double check them before you coat them. Make sure the junctions, connections, top hats and everything have been sealed correctly. Now, double check all service ducting. When it comes to a passive house base, you've got an insulation laid on, then you've got framework, a steel framework with concrete. Any penetrations or service ducts or anything like that needs to be in the correct place. Always double check that your services and your penetrations in your base are in the correct place. Double check, triple check, because I have seen it where they've had to, they've not checked it, they've had to redo ducting. It's expensive, very time consuming, and you're damaging the membrane. So you have to break out a bigger area so you can repair the membranes to make sure that the DPM and that gas membrane is 100% sealed. So things to check. Make sure your base is level, make sure it's square. Double check your DPMs and your membranes. Double check, always think about thermal bridging, making sure that all the connection points are done correctly, and double check your service ducting positions every time. Sub base.